YouTube, you fools try to limit me. Muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe? Come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, go time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda, we showing real life.
Peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What popping? What's cracking? What's happening? Times 9 times 10. Give me a minute. Let me get it together and we gonna go in. All right. Did he steal it or is it a story? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Relatives, la familia. This is a lot. Where we at? Come on, hold on. Yeah, a lot. Um, where do we start? Like these arguments about these two candidates, presidential CEO candidates. That's what y'all want to talk about. Y'all want to talk about people who are habitual liars, right? You know, you got people complaining about the uh, migrant, what do y'all say? Illegal immigrant migrants, you know, those who very well uh, come from people of the same class, right? Came from elsewhere, right? This is, you know, what you want to talk about. The complaints about Kamala Harris as the borders czar is what we keep hearing about. And, you know, the opposing administration or those who are trying to reclaim that are complaining about the lack of effectiveness she's had being the border czar as the vice president. This is what they saying, right? And I'm like, bruh, this is coming out the mouth of the same guy who said not only he was going to build a wall, but he was going to have Mexico pay for it. Promise he was going to build his wall. Nothing else was more important than him building his wall. But now that he's not in office and fighting to get back in office, again, he's pointing at the current border czar. But had he kept his promise and built the wall that he said that he was going to build and make Mexico pay for the wall, just lie after lie on both ends, right? He lied. Now let me point at their lie. When the Biden Harris party began to ponder for votes, they ran on they were going to forgive the student loan debt. Did they do it? Did they sign into policy that all the student loans shall be forgiven? They ran on that. The same way, again, in 2016, Trump ran on he's going to build his wall and promised to build his wall and make Mexico pay for it. So I don't want to hear no more lies out of either party's lips. So let's get to some truth and let's deal with some facts. That's what we're going to do. Like, honestly, if these people cared about the people who have hired them to control their affairs, which is what government is, somebody would just say, you know, government means to control and all that. Maybe we'll flash it and put the Latin definition. Because ain't that a Latin word? It's just too much. I don't got time to remember all that. We're going to talk about the shit that we do know. Okay? Now, these people actually cared about the people. You know, I want to say current news, Kellogg's. You know, you're familiar with Kellogg's, like Frosted Flakes, like Corn Flakes, and whatever kind of cereals they make up there in Battle Creek, Michigan. You know, Kellogg. Now, I said Frosted Flakes and I said Corn Flakes. I said Frosted Flakes first, it's Tony the Tiger. Then I said Corn Flakes. No matter, again, the what is it? The red 40. What are those dyes that are illegal in China and Canada and all these other places? But here, they're still able to use the red 40 and what is it, the yellow 25 and whatever it is, right? And after making promises, again, Kellogg's promised that they would take these harmful dyes, additives out of their recipe for the cereals. They've yet to do it, right? And the reason Kellogg's isn't being penalized for adding these dyes, these harmful dyes until the cereals of their brand made by them, is they're saying that, is it, you said yellow 9, so the red one is what, red 40 or 20? Or you got to understand, this is information that was heavily focused on and spoke about within what we consider to be a grassroots conscious community back in the mid and late 90s. This, I remember the red M&M. They got rid of the, eliminated the red M&M because of the red 40, 50, 60 or whatever it was. This shit was a long time ago. But I'm telling you right now, currently, and peace, God, we good. Hope everything is great with you and those in your circumference, right? But this Kellogg situation, again, they made promises to eliminate these harmful additives, and they've reneged. But we're used to it, is what I'm saying. We just talked about the reneging of the Biden Harris administration, as well as the reneging by way of Trump. What was Trump vice president? Prescott Bush? What was his vice president name? I'm just playing, but I'm just saying, it slips in my memory. Who? Pence. So it wasn't Prescott, it was Pence. Okay. Again, how many decades are we gonna listen to the same lies being told? Red 40. So I was right. Good looking. Over and over again. Like, I don't want to hear the shit. I don't want to hear lies from either party, current administration, prior administration. I don't want to hear it. I don't. These people backslide, more than, and moonwalk out of situations more than the average person who may tell a white lie here or there. They're blatantly lying to millions of people. And another thing I'm pissed at them about, wait, give me a pile of some of this shit. They've sent enough promotions for voting, then like they literally sent the whole tree to my house. Stop sending, I'm not participating. This is participating in the demise of self. When you participate by choosing, and then inside of households right now, if we're gonna be honest, and I'm talking about heterosexual households, we have a lot of headbutting in between the men and women going on right now based off of this coming election, right? I see through a lot of the unnecessary acceptance of someone that is not a part of the community that either any of us are from, right? And being that that's the case, I could never rally for either party because neither one of them are from our community, regardless to how funny Trump is and how business savvy he has been over the decades, if that's what you want to call it. Because the last time I looked at video and photos of Atlantic City, it didn't look so good. These are just the facts, right? Now we can speak about the racist behavior on both parts. I'm not blind when people begin to talk about Kamala in California. You understand? And the kidnapping and holding for ransom and warehousing our people, right? Our men predominantly, And we got to stop acting like, the women don't get caught in that web as well, because again, we discussed some years ago. Um, it wasn't an article. It was like something that was on NBC or something like that back in the day, where they spoke about the a crack era, because this was in, like, I want to say 1998, 1999, but they put up the statistics of the increased amount. It was like something crazy, like 300%, that the imprisonment of Black women increased by over 300% from like 1980 to that current time. And I want to say 1999 or 1998. Like, it's the plan that they put together and enforced a while ago has worked to the tune of making this said corporation that we call the United States of America and its subsidiaries the richest corporate entities, period, barring none, barring no nation state, right at the top. And if you want to prove it to yourself again, if these people are 30 plus trillion in debt as a national debt, what do you think their worth is? And again, when we make statements like this, don't think that we aren't aware of the fiat currency system, the failed when it comes to the people. But when it comes to corporate entities, it is not a failed currency system. It is the only currency system that they will fight wars over and about, right? We can speak about BRICS all day, but I noticed something. It was a misleading it was a misleading article, because it said something that would make most people think that it was, I ain't gonna say most people, but everybody isn't uh savvy when it comes to geographical uh talk. Just put it that way. So the article said American country signs on to BRICS, right? So immediately when they say American country, because they didn't say North American country, they didn't say Central American country or South American country. Specifically, the article read American country. So which one of these American countries is now or has petitioned to become a part of BRICS, right? The country that they were speaking about is Cuba or Cuba, right? But they didn't put that in the heading of the article. But yeah, Brazil is already a part of it. But I'm saying, like, within the past week or so, Cuba has petitioned to become, because that's why I was saying, when they said American country, again, they didn't say North American country. They didn't say Central American country or South American country. They simply said American country, right? And many people think that America is a country. Again, these are people who are not uh, endowed with geographical, you know what I mean? Like, they just go along to get along or whatever, I guess. I don't know how to label that right now, but I'm just saying, again, America is a continent that has multiple countries, right? The same way we know that Africa is a continent with 50 something plus countries within it. I would I would dare you to find someone that, when we say the continent of America, someone who has knows how many countries is inside of America. It's rare that we even mention that or are uh, interested enough in that to put a number to it. But again, when we speak about Africa, people who, you know what I mean, is into what we're into is going to already have this 50 plus or 54 countries or 50 plus countries inside of Africa already embedded into us because we've read it so many times already and heard that so many times already. But not once have I ever heard anyone say uh, how many countries are allegedly inside of the continent that we call America, right? It's rare that you even hear that. So let's get here to what we came here to do right quick. Where I'm at with the mouse. Take me out of here for a second. Now, a few days ago, no, not a few days ago, like Monday or Tuesday this week, a co-worker of mine, and it was actually two co-workers. We were having a discussion based on politics, as well as we were discussing the murder and robbery that took place up here last week, where a jewelry store owner was murdered at his home. The store is in Hamtramck, Michigan, which is like a little suburb inside of Detroit, right? Just like Highland Park, it's a little city inside of Detroit, right? So the uh, assailants, they decided to murder this man. Not just rob, but murder. So, we were having a discussion. We were talking about that. And, I'm going to always, you start talking about situations where police and judges and things like this and that, and district attorneys and prosecutors and things like this and that are involved, I have to always weigh in with the facts, right? So, with me doing that, one of my coworkers, she told me about this town inside of South Carolina, right? Where if you get a ticket there and you don't pay it the same day, they post a photograph of you in the newspaper. And I was like, that sounds crazy. She said, yeah, my mom and my sister relocated to South Carolina and it's already happened to them. She didn't tell me the name of the town. I hadn't yet asked her, right? I immediately went into my phone and started to look around and see, if I could find the name of this town. And I could not. But what I did is I found a town in South Carolina that has something even worse than that. This town, if you are issued a speeding ticket in this town in South Carolina and you don't pay it the same day, they arrest you. Meaning that when the cop pulls you over right there on the spot, they want you to pay the ticket right there on the spot. If you do not pay that ticket right there on the spot, they are going to kidnap you. They are going to put shackles or what you call handcuffs on you. You understand? You may call it arrest. They arrest you. No, that is kidnapping and holding your ass for ransom by way of extortion, right? And this is a law that this town made up itself. It is outside of the South Carolinas laws or acts or codes or policies, if you will, right? It is outside of South Carolina's legislation, right? So I'm going to tell you the name. The town that puts your picture in the newspaper when you don't pay the ticket the same day, that is Lawrence, South Carolina. Lawrence, Laurens, I think. Let me look. All right, quick. Let me see. But again, when we express the facts over here about the origins of the police department as a whole, the fraternal order of police, however you say that, you know, their origins are based around what we see them do every day, right? So, boom. All right, I said Lawrenceville already. So this is Lawrence, South Carolina. Let me make sure I'm spelling it right. Is it? It should be here. But this other town where they arrest you if you don't pay the speeding ticket when you get it is called Turbyville, South Carolina. Again, Turbyville, Turbeville, Turbyville, South Carolina. So I'm gonna share that with you relatives right quick so you can see, and I'll find some information on uh Lawrence, South Carolina as well. So this is the town here. And what happened? Okay. I didn't think I was trying to press all on it right there. So we have for years motorists traveling down busy US 378 to Myrtle Beach from the Midlands have heard this advice: don't speed through Turbyville. Now a class action suit has been filed seeking to force the teeny uh, country town to nullify its town safety ordinance. That ordinance allows Turbyville to write traffic tickets with higher fines than state traffic tickets and keep the money from the citations, as if they don't do that everywhere. The suit also demands the town return millions of dollars to the tens of thousands of drivers who have received municipal tickets since the local ordinance was passed in 2003. So let's back up a little bit. When I say this is the no more ticket or click it movement, meaning that no more click it and ticket, right? And when I express the fact that this particular law or policy, safety belt policy, has um, milked our people for billions of dollars since 1985, and for some states going back, I guess, further than that. Like, this is crazy. Like, you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, and if you don't cash out right there, you are going to be kidnapped and ransomed. Before they kidnap you, of course, they gonna sexually assault you. You know, y'all call that a search, bodily search, right? For doing something that is not even a crime. It is not a crime to exceed a suggested speed limit. Now, I can say that all day, but when somebody proves it to you by way of video footage, what do you do with that? Especially when you see another man or woman in that very same situation demonstrate that same information or that same law to other officers or highwaymen, patrolmen, and they completely ignore it and violate that individual anyway. So hold on. What I'm saying right here is the law that is being used is not being honored by those who don't honor law. Again, some patrolmen honor law when they're forced to. Many others do not. And many of us have come to the conclusion that they very well know that this information or about that law or about the Constitution, they're intentionally violating you. And I say that's halfway true because a lot of times they have no idea. They don't know law. They only know policy. Ain't that what y'all be saying? So I'm not one of the people who, for instance, um, somebody who sits the bench, right? Y'all may call him a judge or a magistrate. I never assumed that these individuals know law, right? For me to do that is to assume that they are dishonorable. Maybe they just didn't know. Just like once upon a time, you may have not known, right? But I just had to share that with the people, you know. Um, where the photo at? I still don't see it. They completely went away. That's crazy. But yeah, people generally don't accept what I'm demonstrating. I'll just say it that way. What I mean by what I'm demonstrating again is we can come together as a collective and force them to eliminate the safety belt law. Some people think that that's crazy, that I would even think that way. And again, it would be those of us who have amnesia real bad, which is most of us. Because again, every 4 years, y'all willing to go against one another in order to support a party that don't give a freak about you. And it's obvious that they don't care about the needs, right? We got Kamala Harris over here saying that if a reparations bill makes it to her desk as US president, she will sign it. She says that there needs to be definitely a reparations study, which is bullshit because it's been studied in and out, up and down for ever since I want to say 1989 when John Conyers and the Black Caucus put together HR 40. And since then, it's went through the hands of some of the most brilliant scholars in that particular area that we have in North America, which would be Dr. William Sandy Darity, as well as Dr. Claude Anderson. Now, those who I'm not mentioning is no disrespect to any of the other elders who have fought for this, for us to receive this form of restitution compensation, i.e., reparations. But there's no need to do a study when, goddamn it, y'all have the congressional records. Whether we're talking about the transatlantic slave trade or the forced slave trade here in the Americas by the that was inflicted on the indigenous, aboriginal, or autochthonous Americans, as well as the Native Americans. You understand? Uh, this shit is crazy. Like from there all the way to the Christian Black Code, Jim Crow, the vagrancy laws, the redlining, the red summer. You understand? The continuous wars against our people by way of their system. See, when we wake up and realize that the system isn't broken, it was invented to do exactly what we see it do, which is keep the wealthy wealthy and make them wealthier. Those who are considered to be an underclass is not just based off their lack of capital, right? It's deeper than that. You would have to go back to not just because I skipped over the Christian Crusades and I did not mention the doctrine of discovery, right? That doctrine of discovery is what they use as a treaty to be able to rob, steal, and kill by way of those who don't believe as they believe. So, in other words, if you were not a Christian, then with that alone, it was mandated, you know what I mean, for them to be able to take your life and take whatever you have and do other things that I won't even say on this platform, right? I wonder what happened to my pictures. Oh my God. All right, here goes something. We'll try this again. And I'm not going to be long. You know, I give y'all enough time to look up Turbyville, South Carolina. And after you look up Turbyville, South Carolina, look up Lawrence, South Carolina. Now, if that ain't some Christian black code shit, I don't know what is. To show you that it still exists. Again, all they did was modify what continues to work for them until this day. They did not abolish any of the said acts and codes, i.e., policies that enhanced their ability to gain more wealth. So, like I said before, and I'll say it again, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, even though if it doesn't. What I'm going to say to you is this: whether the preceding candidate turns out to be, or the elected CEO turns out to be Trump or Harris, either or those candidates is going to be excellent for their business. That's what I mean when I say it don't matter which one of them wins this election, because again, either candidate will be good for business, the type of business that they do. You understand? Either candidate is going to make sure to keep the wealthy wealthy and make some of the elite wealthy people wealthier. That's their job. Their job is not to Captain Save or hold a hood. That's not their job. That's your job. If we're going to keep it real, it's not Trump's job. It wasn't Biden's job. It wasn't Clinton's job. It wasn't Bush's, none of the Bush's job. It wasn't Reagan's job. It wasn't Jimmy Carter's job. It wasn't Gerald Ford's job. It wasn't none of their jobs. Which is why through all of those prior administrations that I just named, you can't show me where they repaired anything that they did, where they repaired any disservice that was committed on our people, even just with a prior administration that predated them, just the one before it. For example, when Obama was leaving office and Trump was coming in, anything that affected us as a people negatively, did Trump come in and correct that? The same shit go for the Biden administration. As Trump was leaving out, did the Biden administration come in and correct anything that happened? It doesn't have to be anything that was inflicted on us by way of that prior administration. It could be some type of natural disaster. It could be any and all of the above. But again, when it's new administration comes in, have they ever corrected anything that we need to be? No. Have they ever assisted in a way that we need them to assist? No. For example, This town that we're talking about that will arrest your ass if you don't pay that speeding ticket on the spot. We could talk about this town until we blue in the face. The only way it's going to be checked and correct is if we do it. Okay. I'm sleepy. Like I can't. I'm tired of these people. I'm very tired of these people with the same antics. Your borders are failed. Oh, you failed too. Because you ain't build that wall. A wall that you promised to build. You know, build a wall and make a whole another nation pay for it, right? That's what we trying to get to. We trying to get back to sovereignty, right? A lot of people say that's difficult to do when you're dealing with people who don't have a firm foot on the land. They're not willing to grow their own food, their own crops, and house and feed and raise their own livestock and things like this and that. That's what they say. Pretty much. Pretty much share some of these comments with the people. And yeah, I said, well, again, these are new practices. They are not new practices. You know, most people wouldn't believe that a town or a city can make up laws or policies that aren't aligned with the laws and policies within the state that they're a subsidiary of. But these is actual facts. Like I showed it to you. I showed you Turbyville. I'm not sure if you'll be able to find an article on Lawrence. Again, that's Lawrence, South Carolina, that will discuss them putting your photograph in the newspaper. If you get a ticket, a citation, infraction from them and you don't pay it the same day. But I know for a fact that it's happening because it happened to my coworker's sister and her mother. And how hard can it be to believe? Like I had a conversation. Uh, I had a conversation with an elder who also was from Detroit who relocated to South Carolina. And I was trying to get more information on what the sister at work was telling me about. And the conversation became about how it's dozens of places in South Carolina called plantation this and plantation that. And based off of that, this individual no longer wants to reside in South Carolina, right? And you know, over here, we could trump that. You have a whole state, Providence Plantation of Rhode Island, who just in what, 2019, 2020, there was a petition to change the name of the Providence Plantation of Rhode Island. However, the entire name of Rhode Island is not Rhode Island. It's Providence Plantation, Rhode Island, or something like that. Again, they were able to get some legislation on the table to officially change the name of Rhode Island, right? So Rhode Island isn't in the South. That's not the South, right? But yet they have the name plantation within their name. It's not in the South. It's Rhode Island plantation, Providence plantation. So again, it's not just the South. It's not just South Carolina. And look here, Florida again, the most racist place I ever been to in my entire existence. And it's also one of the most beautifulest places to visit when it comes to uh not just sight or what it looks like, but it would have to be a fisherman's dream. We literally had crab legs and fish fries every day. Put the crab trap in the water, go back later on or the next morning or whatever, take it out. Fish right off the pier. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Peace, peace. We just on a brief bill, dealing with the state of South Carolina, or South Carolina state. It's two. It's two. It's not just one, right? And again, Turbyville and Lawrence, South Carolina, and what they are doing to the people who have to pass through these towns, right? Just imagine if these people are willing to arrest you on the spot for a speeding ticket. If you don't pay it right there, Johnny, on the spot, you would have to know that even if you weren't speeding, there would be no way, you know what I mean, to prove or disprove anything. They could just say that you were speeding. That's what comes to mind for me. If again, these laws that they're creating are not by way of the state of South Carolina. This is things that they're doing on their own, right? So with that being said, if they have the power to do that and stand on it, we supposed to have 10 times more power. You know what I mean? Especially looking at the historical records, the congressional records, and any other kind of records that are in existence. That's why I say when their vice president is promising to sign some type of reparations bill, and she's in agreement that there needs to be more studies mandated for it. Nah, goddamn, we done did all the studies that need to be done already. We just need y'all to cut the check. We need speak their language. Speaking their language is to tell them to balance the books. Balance the books. That's it. Balance the books by way of cutting the checks. Balance the books by way of cutting the checks. But again, until that happens, we must get in a position as to where we make agreements with one another, right? We make agreements with one another to make them honor what we present. And again, many people think that the issuance of reparations would bankrupt this so-called nation state or country. And that's just not true. What you can visibly see that they have on the books doesn't represent all of their wealth, right? And being that they feel like they need to do more research and more study while they're doing that, and let me say this, that also on their part, it represents an admission of guilt. So there has to be responsibility and accountability on the end of the federal government, right? I'm aware that we have many states, quite a few cities that are issuing reparations in their own way, right? But as far as the federal government talking about doing more research and more studies, that's just another way to drag shit out when it's already been dragged out for too long. We don't need more studies. But while they're doing their studies, what we will be doing is constructing uh not just movements, but documents showing that, okay, we have an admission of guilt on y'all end. So until y'all begin to cut the checks, we will not be liable for any type of property taxes, sale taxes, state taxes, city taxes, and so on and so forth. Any state ran programs that have any fundings available must go directly to us. For us, the same way that we don't see them snatching Cherokee men or women out of their cars and sexually assaulting them and kidnapping them or holding them for ransom, that won't be, you know what I mean? You can no longer do that to us. We'll be laying all of this out while y'all continue to do y'all studies and figure out how you're going to issue this 20 trillion or this 15 trillion to the descendants of those who you murdered, robbed, incarcerated with the same vagrancy laws and Jim Crow and Christian black codes and doctrine of discovery and on and on and on that y'all using right here now today by way of your patrolmen and your other alphabet gangs. So I don't know how many brothers and sisters that we have within viewing and listening distance in South Carolina, but and I understand South Carolina is something different. Like a lot of our people who are down in that area, especially around Charleston and what y'all call the Bible Belt and all of this and that. A lot of those brothers and sisters, man, they are not trying to hear any truth about what's going on currently right now or what happened. You know what I'm saying? During the Reconstruction era, anything before that and anything post that, they, actually, if you're not talking about the church, I'm gonna just say what it is. They don't want to hear it. If you ain't talking about the good ship Jesus, they don't want to hear it. Any revolutionary conversation puts you on their radar. We just put it like that. It shouldn't be hard to believe when we know that it was a melanated woman who stabbed Dr. Martin Luther King, peace be upon him. It shouldn't be hard to believe when we know it was a melanated young man who attempted to assassinate Martin Luther King's parents. Not only was he a melanated young man, but he was a Hebrew Israelite. This is stuff that we talked about years ago, right? But I don't know what it is with us with this selective memory shit, but it makes me not even want to get on here and say shit. It's like my mama used to say, I gotta hold my finger in one of your ears while I talk to you so it don't go in one ear and out the other. Hard pill to swallow, knowing how our youth is affected by the decisions that we make. Running away from problems that we know exist. So I say it again, we start small. No more click of the ticket. That's where we at. Not to say that's the only thing that's popping, because again, the goal is to make sure that the books are balanced. And the only way the books become balanced is when they cut the checks. Right? That's what we saying. And with that, I'm going to say peace, y'all.
YouTube, you fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the black tube, and now we making history. Black tube, 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 what? Black tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? The blacktube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, go time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda. We showing